Hey, folks, welcome back to another thought session with your boy Andy here. Just a quick update. I am doing a lot better since my release from the hospital, from being admitted in the hospital. Taking medication as I need to, and kind of maybe compared to the last video up to now, you see a little bit of a difference. I am recovering pretty decently well, if you guys care about that. So, thanks to those that wish me a speedy recovery. I do appreciate it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video, which is going to be about the idea of leadership. Leadership is something that you hear across the spectrum of the workplace, so to speak. It's always on somebody's resume as a skill. It's always in some job application as, do you have this skill? Or leaders in general just talk to other leaders to try and stimulate that conversation, get a good idea of how they can improve their team, their job, their this, their that, the whole nine. But I think my question is, what makes a good leader, so to speak? Is it, having the fancy resume? Is it having the fancy bachelor's degree? Is it having the fancy certificates and this, that, and the third, and all of that jazz? Is it all of that? Or is it something a little bit different? Is it something a little more easier to understand? I think personally that a good leader, so to speak, or just a leader in general, is someone who is a jack of all trades. Now, I know you guys have heard the saying, or at least you probably have only heard half of the saying, that a jack of all trades is a master of none. And that's probably all you've heard. But there's more to it. There's a lot more to it, actually. So the whole thing is, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but often better than a master of one. What does that mean? I think it's kind of straightforward of what it means. It means that somebody who knows 80% of every topic, let's say there's 5 topics, and that someone that knows 80% of all 5 topics is often better than a master of just one topic. That's kind of the thought process of where I'm going with with being a leader or leadership in general. A leader, in my eyes, shouldn't be a master of one. A leader should be a jack of all trades. They should always be a jack of all trades. In reality, there's always going to be someone that is smarter than the leader. There's always going to be someone that is stronger than the leader. There's going to be someone that's braver than the leader, and there's always going to be someone who has, more common sense, I guess, than that particular leader, if you want to put it on that aspect. But those are all just masters of one. One. Singularities, versus the jack of all trades, versus the master of, well, I can't say master, versus the jack of all trades, so to speak, right? That jack of all trades is going to be able to care for you, but still be stern in, monitoring the team. That jack of all trades is going to come up with pretty good ideas while still trying to, keep the sanity of the team. Like, they're not gonna accept a project if it means that it jeopardizes something on their team, or they're not gonna do this because it jeopardizes something somewhere else here. They're gonna look at all of the aspects. They're gonna look at here, there, and the third, and then come up with a decision, and then move forward with it. What's best for the team, and so on and so forth. It's kind of the thought process that I go with. Sometimes, in certain aspects, when I am at work, I do consider myself a jack of all trades. I'm not a master at safety management systems. I don't think I'm a master at Pilot ASAP. I'm talking aviation stuff. I don't think I'm a master at risk assessments. I don't think I'm a master at all of that stuff. Albeit, based on my recent end of year review for 2024, I was told that I'm a subject matter expert, which, yes, it boosts my ego a little bit, but I digress. I know a little bit of everything in order to help a little bit of everyone, so to speak. I love doing that. Not because I get to gloat about it, but because it gives me life to help people. It gives me life to be able to point someone in the right direction so they can complete their project. They can complete their end of the day job or whatever the case may be. They can just get past the hurdle that they have going for them and reach that finish line. And that brings me a little bit of peace. That brings that self-love, self-care. That brings me happiness to help people. If y'all watched the last video, kind of tie in the two. Now, the main reason why I want to talk about leadership in general is because I also want to figure out who is the leader. Who's leading us? Specifically, let's talk about millennials. Who's leading millennials down the right path, so to speak? Now, I know a bunch of you are going to just cram your mentors and your gurus and all that crap in the comment section below. And I'm going to tell you right now, none of them are it. You could put Gary Vee down there. You could put Tony Robbins down there. You could put Jack Canfield. You could put this person. You could put that person. You could put whoever you want. Whoever you want. You could even put Drake down there. Although after today's Super Bowl halftime show, I don't know if you want to do that. Just saying. But you could put whoever you want down there. They're not it. They're not the leaders for millennials or any generation for that matter. So who's leading us? We're kind of in that space of, what do we do? But also, a lot of us got PTSD because we were always told our entire lives that we just have to figure it out. Right? We just have to figure it out. Gen X and the boomers kind of gave us that idea of we have to figure it out. Gen X, those are our parents, 60s, 70s, just into 1980, not necessarily 81. But those are our parents, right? Gen X and the boomers, those are our parents. And they grew up in a way where it was less technologically advanced at that time. And everything was a little bit more sane, more common sense driven, more we got to do things manually, right? And then millennials came around. And with the millennials came the technology era. And boy, was that a big time for the human race. We had to figure out a lot of things. We had to figure out how to work the computer. We had to figure out how to deal with dial-up, and we had to figure out how to deal with the new age cell phones and PDAs and all of these fancy jazz and stuff that's been going on. We were just, here you go, by Gen X and the boomers, and we just had to figure it out. And then when we did figure it out, we were called lazy. But that's a different story for a different time. And then now we're in that space where Gen Z and all of the younger generation is starting to grow up a little bit, and they're coming at us because we're going at them for certain things, because we were raised with the idea of work hard, do the right thing, get the good job, do this, do that, dedicate yourself, right? And they're kind of growing up on the idea of we don't care. So now we're on both ends of the spectrum. We're hated, right? Hated because the older generation thinks we're too lazy, and the younger generation thinks we don't care, we don't practice self-love, we don't, we're not in our feelings. Let's leave it at that. We're just not in our feelings like that. I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's an entirely bad thing. So then who's really leading us? Am I a leader? I don't know. Are you a leader? I don't know. Do you know somebody who's like a leader? We don't know if they're a leader too. So who is it? Who can we look to in order to get some idea, get some common sense behind things, get something going? I don't know. I started thinking about that today after watching a couple of videos on Instagram or YouTube or so on and so forth, and it just really got me thinking. Truly got me thinking. It almost makes me want to, and I'm gonna go aviation geek on you guys again. It almost makes me want a QRH for life. What is a QRH, you may ask? A QRH is short for Quick Reference Handbook. What that essentially is, it is a book that the pilots up front use whenever a discrepancy of some sort pops up on the airplane's computer. If there's a discrepancy, there's a QRH for it. There's a quick reference handbook thing for it, chapter for it. So what it generally is, it's a bunch of yes/no questions and instructions on how to go ahead and mitigate that particular issue. I may put up just a blank canvas for you guys to see kind of what I'm talking about, just so it's a little bit easier, because I know sometimes associating pictures with things, it's easier for people than, just spewing a bunch of words out. But nonetheless, I kind of wish that we had a QRH chapter for life, so to speak, when there's no leader present, so to speak. So, with that said, let's wrap up the video. Let's wrap up the video with what I think is, or who is, our leader, so to speak. And let's condense it down to the millennials again. I think, truly, our leader is us. Yes, I know, cliche. Oh no, we are our own leaders. We are no. I'm serious. I'm actually very serious. But we're not all there yet. And the reason why I say we're not all there yet is because we're all not jack of all trades. You see, the nice thing about millennials is that we adapt. We're very good at adapting. We had to adapt to the technology area, and now we have to, although some of us are not very good at it because we all have our own little issues, medical issues, anxiety issues, so on and so forth. Although we may not be the best at it right now, we're getting there. We're adapting to the Gen Z and younger generation era of self-love, self-care, better parenting, so on and so forth. We're trying. I am certainly not there yet. I still have my own issues, my own trauma. Like I said, most of y'all at this point know that my kid had her own issue, and I am a NICU parent, and I've had my own trauma from that. And it's very hard to do self-love, self-care with that, intense thing in the back of your head. It's like an imaginary, I don't even want to say it. It's just imaginary. It's there. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm still, we're the millennials and everybody, we're still trying to practice that self-love, self-care kind of thing. I think the leader is us once we learn how to become a jack of all trades. We know how to do self-love, self-care. We know how to manage our finances in our 30s. We know how to raise a family. We know how to eat healthy. We know how to think critically in critical situations. We just know, right? We get all of those little boxes checked off instead of just one box. And then we start to figure life out. Then we start to branch out. We have our own families, and we have our spouse, we have our children, then our children's children and their children, and so on and so forth. I think so long as we become the jack of all trades, so long as we learn to lead in that aspect, the generations to come should be just fine. They should be okay. They should be able to make better decisions and understand how life works in certain aspects for things. That's kind of my spiel. If you got anything from this video and you want to comment about it, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. If you have your own idea of what a leader is, put it in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. Let's get some things going. Let's get a little bit of conversation going. I want to hear from you guys. I want to see what you have to say. And just stimulate some things. We're all human. We need a little bit of help. We all need a little bit of guidance and leadership somehow, some way. Without further ado, thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next video.